Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fireside Cast coverage of RGL Season 12 Invite Stage 2 Bracket 2 Grand Finals. It is certainly a mouthful. I'm Trad. Joining me tonight is Mustard Overlord on the mic and see you on production. How are you doing, Mustard?
I'm good. That was actually the exact word I was going to use, a mouthful. It's we're kind of at the I guess sort of the natural halfway point of this season with a couple different stages. And just for clarification for the viewers, in the next round, the winner of this game will be playing LeBron-Stantinople, who are the fourth seed from the upper bracket or the Group A, and the loser of this game is going to be playing the Covenant in the next round. So this is really about jockeying for seedings, but it's also about reputation on the line. It really shows better at this moment.
For sure, for sure. We are currently in the stage 2 of the season. And for Invite, RGL decided to do something different this season. So we're testing it out here. And we do have a little helpful graphic on the screen right now. There was, as we said, a Group A and a Group B, or I guess you could say bracket 1, bracket 2. And we're currently covering the grand finals of the Group B or bracket 2 last match, which is between number 5 Cat Posse and number 6 Estrogen, took my homies. So yeah, after this, they still got a few more matches that they got to play before we finally determine the final playoff seeding after this stage 2. So certainly more matches to watch in the future, but we have this match currently tonight. But as we said, Cat Posse versus Esgen took my homies. Any thoughts, preliminary thoughts you have, Mustard, on these two teams?
Well, we saw them match up just about a week ago, or was it less than that? Was it however long ago it was? And Cat Posse took it out in a very close but decisive two-game series. So we have that going for us. I think these teams are pretty evenly matched. Their games in the past have all been close. I think maybe even based on scrim results, Estrogen has been more informed, but it didn't seem to matter last time they played. And it's also worth noting that there's a bit of a ringer situation going on. Quacks, previously on the roster prior to Raven joining, is filling in for Apathy, who I have word is at a Twice concert. So I hope he's enjoying his K-pop while his team, plays for their invite lives. But luckily this is far from an elimination match, so it's not that big a deal. But yeah, I think these teams, going into the season, I'm gonna take a long view for a second. Going into the season, we had these up and comers like Rome, like Catgirl Cafe, teams that were getting some hype with some decent scrim results, some new players, and at the end of the day, the teams that have been around the block and invite for a couple seasons ended up climbing at least to the top, at least to the best of the rest, to the top of this group. So, these are teams that have been around for a long time. I've played with and against many of these players, so it's good to see a little bit of roster continuity.
Yeah, for sure. Having roster continuity is always a nice thing in TF2 where players come and go. So we're excited to see what we can get from this and what will happen after this season as well. If you're looking at the graphic just went away. But yeah, we do have the lineups. Why don't we go through that instead? Cat Posse and Estrogen took my homies. Any players you want to highlight on either of these two teams?
Yeah, I think for Cat Posse, the player of the season for them by far this season has been Shining Stars. She's been having just a really strong season. I casted, I think, the very first match they played the season on Gully Wash, where she played a really strong game, actually outperformed both scouts on LeBron, even though they lost that match. And just consistently, she's been really good this season. I mean, stats aren't everything, but on Pocket Scout, they can denote how the team's doing overall, and she's been doing really well. I think Yum Yum, always a very scary and kind of unpredictable player when it comes to, the type of pocket scouts or flank scouts who are really more of a second pocket scout versus those who just kind of wreak havoc behind. He's definitely in the latter camp. So I'd say the scouts on their team are definitely players to watch for. I'm kind of interested to see the soldiers on, and maybe this would have been even more true with Apathy, but I feel like the soldier cohesion has been a big thing for Estrogen. I've noticed that they've been surprisingly good at winning mid fights, even against teams that are like ranked above them. And I feel like they have just very coordinated soldier bombs and just really good aggression overall. And then lastly, I would say these two medics have very different play styles, which I think is worth taking a look at. I think Protein is going to be much more of a survival-based medic, try to get as few deaths as possible. Whereas Pablo, he's willing to like scrap it out. He always follows Polly, his buddy, to the death, and sometimes that can be really good, and their team can just get a lot of forward momentum, and other times he just dies more than the other medics. So the medic deaths will be definitely something to monitor as well.
Well, we'll see if those two soldiers that you highlighted on Estrogen, Raven and Quex, can bring forth the power, as they are going to be the underdogs in this game, being the lower seed, but also in the previous matchups. I think we can talk a little bit since the season changed. Basically, before stage 2 and stage 1, we had the round robin where every team played each other exactly once. So I think in that match, Cat Posse versus Estrogen took my homie. If I did my research correctly, Cat Posse did win that 4-3 on Bagel. And then we saw that in the upper bracket of this stage 2, lower bracket 2, group B, whatever you want to call it. Cat Posse already played with Estrogen like just over a week ago. And again, that was a 2-0 for Cat Posse. So we'll see if Estrogen can change it around. But in that 2-0, it was again a Bagel, and I forgot what the second map was, but
I believe it
the
was
5
Snakewater.
CP, yeah, the 5 CP one was not as close. So
Yeah.
we a little bit of a change up in this matchup this time, because we don't have Bagel. In fact, we do have Snakewater as the first map and Sultry as the second map. And then if we do get to the third one, we will have Metalworks. Any thoughts on these new maps in this third encounter between these two teams?
Yeah, I was looking at the map veto, and I think it's pretty obvious what happened. So neither of these teams have played an official match on Sultry this season, right? And Estrogen has the first veto. They veto Bagel. I think they actually, I'm pretty sure it was the other team that vetoed Bagel. Never mind. But either way, as we're going live, so I'll save my thoughts on Sultry for later. Good timing there. But I'm gonna take a look at the soldiers for Estrogen on this mid. I want to see if they have any plans to go aggressive on the first fight. We'll get back to Sultry after this match.
We'll see what the soldiers will do on this mid, but it's up to the demos at the onset of this mid. It's going to be Sleepy a little bit faster on the mid, shooting some stickies trying to get some early area damage onto the players, lobbing some stickies on top of Shed. Seems like the soldiers are not gearing up to commit just yet. Polly just jumping around the box, and there's going to be Raven jumping on top of the roof. The frags are going to go in favor of Estrogen on the first one. Shining Star, the player we highlighted to be a large force on the side of Cat Posse, going to be the first casualty, and the rest of the frags are trickling in for Estrogen. Took my homies. Pablo on top, just surviving as KTB coming in with a late bomb, but he is not going to be able to pick up the medic. And so emphatic mid-win from Estrogen. Took my homie, something that you highlighted. Despite being underdogs, they can win these mid fights.
Yeah, it was a really good mid from them, although not necessarily for the reasons I thought, as we do have an early sack onto Protein from Raven. A 2-man, actually. Polly's going in as well. He's going to get cleaned up, so we're going to see if Cat Posse decides to push out off of this. But yeah, it was just really good coordinated focus fire, focus spam on the point, taking down Shining Star playing on that shack. And if you get an early scout pick, it could be pretty hard to stay in the mid fight, as it looks like this counter sack very effectively repelled. And with that 64 for the attackers, I'd really like to see them try to take some aggressive ground here. Instead of just blind sacking players, maybe they can try to move over to Shutter, bait some players out, see what they can do. I like the way that Estrogen is playing this. It's pretty smart so far. Let's see if they can get any advantageous position. 2 seconds away from those players spawning. They really want to go for a force now. As a beautiful pipe by Sleepy.
Huge pipes from Sleepy, and Sleepy is farming, getting 3 frags. Uber popped out, but it's not going to matter, as they're just going to be rolling forward with the round victory. A 1-0 start for Estrogen, despite being the underdog. Sleepy did not want any of that news and comes out with a 3K on the last push.
Yeah, and Sleepy was, the star of that push, actually dropping Bro Team, making it just look trivial, but honestly, that was just really well played as a team strategically, realizing that with those 2 picks, they could take over Shutter really quickly. That was just well coordinated. So let's see if the focus fire is really good from Estrogen again, or if we get a double bomb to mix things up. As I'm watching Karama, who's doing a lot of damage on this mid so far.
Yeah, Karama just locking out the players right now. It's going to be the scouts on the side of Cat Posse that are going to be first on top, but they're going to be losing their lives. Shining Star again in the death feed, the demo backing up all the way, and it's going to be 3 players lost, nobody dead on the side of Estrogen. And again, another great mid win felt like they were always in control there.
Yeah, and again, I didn't really see how it happened, but Shining started going down very early on the mid, as you called out, Trad, and as we see a sack attempt coming in, but it looks like this is going to even out, and Sleepy manages to pick out Yum Yum actually going for a play, so maybe off of this we'll see a little more aggression from Estrogen as an Uber trade actually happens in lobby. Sleepy gets dropped in turn for a better Uber for Pablo, and this is actually pretty smart from Pablo, I think, dropping Sleepy, with the better spawns coming in now they have full Uber advantage.
Yeah, Pablo playing that more risky style you said, well, he doesn't even want to use the Uber there because it's not in an advantageous way, and right now they're just getting all the frags without having the Uber, so they're going to have 2-player advantage. Uber just walking in, players on the cap already, 3 times cap, Uber saving the players now. It's only going to be heavy on top of the point, getting arrow buff, but it's not going to be enough, and that's going to be a very, very fast 2-0 for Estrogen to my homies.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, man. If I were Cat Posse here, I would take attack pause. This is just going really quickly. It seems like they're getting a little bit desperate too early, Not to try to deliberately, wish a worse caster experience on us, but I feel like we could get a little bit more turtling on last from Cat Posse. They feel like they feel so urgent, like they have to push out, and they're just not doing it very coordinatedly. They're losing picks and they're giving up last too quickly. Let's see if they can get something better going on this mid without losing players early. Again, Karama getting a lot of positioning up point, doing a lot of early damage. And he managed to take out Sleepy, so they really should roll the mid off of this.
Yeah, this time it's looking better for Cat Posse, getting 2 picks in their favor. Toss bombing forward, getting the players out of saw, just shooting the rockets, and it seems like Cat Posse have regained a little bit of their composures. They're walking very fast into lawn already right now, just keeping the aggression on, trying to catch out Pablo. He's gonna escape through the bats. Polly manages to escape down lower as well, so unfortunate for Cat Posse, unable to pick up those kills, but they have steamrolled this forward all the way onto second as well, and we will have these Uber charges for both teams. Estrogen not taking any chances, already building the sentry gun.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone caught that air arrow that Pablo had on KTB bombing him, but that was pretty nice. Yeah, finally a pretty good mid from Cat Posse as we see the one-man sack coming in, it looks like. I wonder if they're only doing a solo, I wonder if Yum Yum's going to come up an off-class sniper or spy. But yeah, that was, as I was saying, that was a much better mid. And I think when the mids are that slow, when both teams are just spamming, sometimes that first pick just instantaneously swings it, as opposed to, a double bomb mid where you can't always tell who wins just by the first kill. The damage might be enough. But we do see Yum Yum on sniper, and maybe this will be a good time for Cat Posse, take a deep breath. They're down 2-0, but it's only 6 minutes into the game. That's the flip side of losing so quickly. They have plenty of time to bring this back. They just have to settle down, stop, taking overly risky plays when, there's so much time left. Just work the sniper and see what they can do.
Especially, yeah. They got a great sniper in Yum Yum, especially that now Invite is also the progressive rule set. You're always going to have a lot of time now. You shouldn't be feeling the time pressure, since it should be infinite time to win the match if needed. Just can't let them get to 5 before the 30 minutes. So it's going to be up to Yum Yum, rotating around right now. Gets one shot onto Polly already. Enemy sniper down, so he's going to have more of an opening on this big door right now. Sticky's in front of him, nobody clearing it for him just yet, and he's a little hesitant to peek out even further as he knows there's going to be the soldier bomb. Soldier escapes just barely. So lucky for Quacks to escape with his life, but everybody had to rotate around, the medic playing a lot safer, but Toss gets picked on the other side, so I'm going to back all the way up.
Sorry, I want to call something out really quick, Trad, which is that Raven is on the battalion's backup. So rather than a counter sack off of these picks, he's just going to keep charging that up. And if an opportunity presents itself, either he'll sack with it, or maybe their whole team will walk forward and confront them, or maybe he'll just hold on to it forever just for the defense. But I think that's a pretty smart play when your team is already up rounds on the defense and you put even more pressure onto them. But we'll see if he manages to get that off, or if he dies before he gets it.
For sure, he's getting a lot of opportunities to shoot these rockets in the spam corridors, and he's going to peek into Yum Yum right now. See a lot of players fighting in drop down. The Frontier Justice ringing out, getting a frag as well. That's 2 picks down for Estrogen. Took my homies, but as you said, seems like one soldier is going to go in behind. That's going to be Raven, making his move. Quack's just shooting rockets from down below, trying to build it up even more. And Raven is actually going to get all the way out of there, still with the battalions.
Just doing a full around the world play
yeah.
there.
Just wanted a little bit of a safari on Snakewater here. See if he could find the snakes, but it's going to be Yum Yum instead, peeking down lower, trying to get a sightline, but the medic is so safe in this position. It's going to be tough for him to get anything going here.
Yeah, as we see the double spam on the gun, they do manage to get the sentry. Let's see if they manage to get a pick with Yum Yum with this. There is only 40 seconds left, but Raven actually pops the battalion's back up just on that. I guess he's using it sort of as a quasi-sentry, you know, giving them more health and more protection from the snipe. And,
those were chances for Yum Yum. Saw the medic, managed to headshot the battalions, but the battalions, the guy didn't even feel anything as he was still 100 health after the headshot. Now the Ubers are going to ring in Estrogen with only 15 seconds left in the round. Sentry gun going down, but that is not a player, and it's going to be very, very tough now to break in as they are down a player and Yum Yum. 5 seconds remaining. I just don't see this happening, and we will see for a mid-fight reset as Ubers popped, and we'll see if Estrogen can get their momentum in the mid-fights, get it going, but Cat Posse don't want to see that happen, and they'll have another chance here.
And that was an interesting, you know, philosophical situation because Estrogen sort of had two options there. They had enough time if they wanted to blind Uber in a lobby with their Uber advantage to try to recap second, but they decided that risk-reward wise, it made more sense to just let the clock run out and go to another mid-fight. We'll see if they're proven right, you know?
Yep, they have been winning them before that last one. They have won the previous two, and it's going to be Quacks up high, bombing, making a lot of space for his team. He's going to be the first casualty, but it should give a lot of space for his team as the rest of the players on the side of Cat Posse are dropping like flies. KTB so high in the air is going to crater. Toss is trying to cut his losses, make sure that he can get back with his med. Kurama with some nice stickies, and it's going to be a little bit of a 3v3 on the meantime on this second point as the respawners for both teams slowly come up. Estrogen, they're just edging on the second point right now. Kurama does not want to give this up. He is so aggressive. The rest of his team not quite there yet, but his pipes are making it work, getting the damage into the Estrogen players, and they're going to back up, losing 2 players now. They got to cut their losses.
That was a really good hold by Kurama. Yeah, now you're going to see possibly an attempted push with Sleepy dead, you know, with no spam on that doorway. As Polly is killing Toss and looks like he's running behind, going for a back cap. And actually, Pablo's coming with him. This is the classic Bro King team back cap that we used to see all the time. And I think, yeah, they're going to get the point. I don't know about this.
Oh my god. They're so fast. The Uber was used to save Polly, and Polly's just going to sit on the last point. Oh, it's not going to work out. Managing good play from Cat Posse, heads up to stack on the second point and make sure they don't lose the round outright. But right now it's going to be tough. Shining Star doing her best in the back lines, picking up one player and Scream, but it's going to be a 1v4 on the second point. The rest of the players really slow to get back into the map from the respawn queue. Polly is already pressing W, just trying to scout it out, and Shining Star is actually doing a great job just distracting in the back lines, really low on health, but really making sure that her team has a chance by just being a nuisance and delaying this last push.
Yeah, as Pablo now has a 30% Uber advantage. And yeah, it seems like every time the situations have gotten chaotic so far in this match, that it's benefited Estrogen. They've, you know, in the middle of just a really chaotic fight, they've stuck together and focus fired well, whereas Cat Posse is getting very, very split up. As finally...
Sorry, there was just a fight in the end. There was a bit of an air shot, but that was a funny exchange as both players go down. But on the last point, seems like they are just grouping up towards the shutter area. Uber popped out from Pablo straight away. They're trying to use their advantage, but it is dwindling right now. 8% remaining until the Uber on the site of Cat Posse. A lot of frags coming in. Sleepy with 2. The Heavy just coming out right now. Raven waiting for an arrow. Picks up the pill instead. The Uber popped out, unable to save the Heavy, and it's going to be Kurama against the world. Picks up 2. So Kurama is doing a good job right now, but can he fight against the Soldier? And the Demo cannot do it. And it's going to be a 3-0 for Estrogen. Took my homies.
It feels like I mentioned that Protein is a bit more of a passive medic, and it feels like Estrogen have found this really nice rhythm where they're managing to kill Kurama and Shining Star a lot at the beginning of a lot of these fights when they're trying to play aggressive, but their heals are pretty far back. And like even on that last mid-fight with the double bomb where half the team seemed to want to go forward and the other half seemed to back up, As we see, Toss with a really fast bomb on the Sleepy, a bit desperate, and I think this is going to be another Estrogen mid win pretty quickly, Trad.
Yeah, unfortunate for the other players besides Toss. His soldier duo in KTB could not follow up quite on the damage. KTB doing a good job shooting some nice rockets onto the scouts, but it's not going to be enough as they do have the healing power. And again, another Estrogen took my homies mid win. That's like four, I think, so far in the match so far, and it is translating to round wins as they kept their meta alive. They're gonna have another chance for an uber advantage push, and they've been able to convert all of these basically each time. So we'll see if this makes it a 4-0, and we'll see what Cat Posse can do to stop it because they got to stop this bleeding soon. They want to try and draw it out. Perhaps use one of those tack timeouts that you were talking about to probably regain some composure here.
Yeah, it's slowly rolling over to too little, too late. So let's see how this Uber push goes. Gunda goes down quickly. They're starting to get some cap time as Karama's in spawn, but Uber comes out from Protein, gets it in time. This should be pretty close to a wipe if they play this correct.
They should play it correctly. Scream going to be the last player on the last. Demo bombing in, trying to get something onto the med, unable to finish the frag. So a good recovery from Cat Posse, keeping their med alive, keeping a lot of players alive. They're going to get this second point. Stacking it right now. I don't think they'll be able to perhaps block the Demo Man. We do have a spy as well. Scream just sitting in forwards, but he is committing. So
He's known for his spy play. I've seen a lot of good plays from Scream.
We'll see if he can do it. Cat Posse unawares right now as Scream is just sitting on the midpoint. Seems like they are not aware of this at all, and they're just going to walk towards Saw right now. Scream waiting for his moment, still being cloaked right now. Yum Yum gets the cap, and Scream just waiting, being so patient. Finally uncloaks. He's just walking around, gets the scout, and is alone with the med for a second, but unable to finish it off. The rest of his team of Cat Posse's teams coming in and protecting their med, so gets one frag, but probably not the high value target he was looking for.
Yeah, he was disguised as the enemy Demo Man, which, pros usually won't get called out as a spy because it's just such a rare thing to disguise as in sixes, but cons, you move pretty slowly. He couldn't get to the medic in time, I believe. As now we'll see if Cat Posse manages to use this pick to get a good sack on Pablo. But he's doing a pretty good job of avoiding toss, and it looks like it's just going to even out. And of course, any stalemate at this point is just gravy for Estrogen.
Yeah, for sure. They're sitting high and pretty on this 3-0 right now, so they're okay with keeping it as is. It's going to be up to Cat Posse to break the stalemates and to get themselves back into this match. And Yum Yum is going to try and lead the way, clear out Saw, make a play towards window, just scouting it out for his team. But we do have 3 minutes, a lot of time remaining in this round. Estrogen took my homies. They are content with just having the soldier on top of Pipe, is sitting pretty passive and making sure that they keep themselves in this round, not give up anything for Cat Posse.
Yeah, as Cat Posse is trying to, dry peek lower, see if they can spot anyone, make a distraction for Toss potentially. I do like how they're playing this so far. They are getting some good height and good positioning, forcing SFC back, but SFC, Estrogen, you know what I mean? And Pablo actually lives with 13 health.
Oh, he avoided the arrow too.
That was
Routine trying to hit the fadeaway, but unable to do so. And that was close on getting to Pablo, but Pablo with balls of steel just will not pop. So Cat Posse, they've got to bring more to the table here. Seems like Estrogen, despite having 2 picks as well, they're coming into Saw, taking space, and Uber trade perhaps? Oh, the Devil Man's going to get dropped Sleepy, but Pablo does not want to use the Uber, is going to sacrifice his Devil Man. Oh, and Quack survives so barely, running away with the escape plan, and no Uber still being used. So we'll see if it works out. They did lose their Demo Man. They're just bleeding players right now. Not having the demo, having a lot of weak players. Finally, Uber's going to get popped. Is Protein going to get caught? No, Protein should be able to escape. So, uh-oh. I spoke too soon. Protein is going to get caught. Not linking up with Shining Star. It's going to be Shining Star. And the rest of the players of Cat Posse actually cleaning up on Pablo. So all the meds going down.
Yeah.
A very messy fight, but somehow Cat Posse on top.
Yeah, I think Estrogen aired just a little bit too far on the side of dropping players there. And then afterwards, Pablo and Paulie were basically left alone, went on a little adventure. They were able to trade medics, but after that, it didn't really go too well. So I actually did like the initial demo drop again, but I feel like after that they should have regrouped and got healed instead of losing more players. But it is what it is, and now we're gonna see another last push attempt. There is a small Uber advantage on. Sorry, I was just checking if that was crits. It is just Uber on Bro Team. We'll see if Cat Posse is aware of this and how they plan to use this, because it's still only a relatively small advantage, about 25%.
Oh, and they lost Shining Star, so I don't think they will be trying that just. They only had a 25% advantage anyway, but it seems like they're just playing quite safe now, trying to not let anybody else get picked by Polly. But I might be lying because they are grouping up towards the right side of last, towards Shutter. Uber going to be popped out right away. They're trying to catch out the players. Sentry Gun was being moved around, so it's not up to shoot at players. They already picked up Quacks, but finally the Uber's going to come out from Pablo, trying to make sure that no other players are dropped. They managed to pick up Yum Yum in the process, but now the Soldier's coming back in. The re-aggression, a little bit fragmented from the side of Cat Posse as they have a spy in the middle of all of this. Was that the grand plan, to have the spy speak in?
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see if this works.
Oh my god, it might be the grand plan. Oh, it is the grand plan. The great escape from from the spy of Shining Star. We said she would be the star player, the player that we are watching for Cat Posse to bring themselves into this match, but I don't know if we were expecting the spy play to be the first round for Cat Posse here.
Yeah, not so much, as I do think maybe Estrogen got a little too loose in that round, feeling kind of cocky up 3-0. We'll see if they restabilize on the mid, or if Cat Posse can keep the momentum going, as I'm actually choosing to watch Shining Star again.
Yeah, we'll see. Toss was going with a really fast rollout, but he took a lot of early damage. Quacks just doing a little bit of a fade bomb, making sure that Cat Posse are on their toes, but Raven gets smolched right when he was waiting for an arrow. The players, lots of soldiers cratering on both sides. Pablo eating a lot of damage, just sticking around his saw right now. It is a 4v4 in fact, and both sides with around evening positioning, around even health. It's very close. Both scouts on the low ground right now. On the side of Estrogen took my homies, shooting up on top of the soldier, who's just ringing down some spam damage. It is so close. It's going to be up to the spawners, which are faster for Estrogen took my homies, but there is more cap time for Cat Posse as more players are coming in. Such an extended fight. Kurama getting another frag onto Sleepy. Uber Trade going to be exchanging on the midpoint. Polly just jumping around, a little bit disconnected from his soldier, or from his med, as KTB was trying to kill the leaving Scream. The soldier coming in out of nowhere. Toss picking up the frag, and in the end it's going to be Cat Posse cleaning up all the frags. Only Pablo remaining. Two respawners trying to make sure that he survives, but it's not going to happen, and Toss picks up the frag. Utter chaos here, but Bro Team managed to survive, and Cat Posse will get the second point.
Yeah, that's more like it. That extended mid-fight, they finally played it well. Shining Star and Kurama just continually staying alive and raining damage. As we see the dry push in from Cat Posse, they do still have heals, so the heals aren't coming back up. They're just up now, but not enough cap time maybe in the meantime. But as I say that, Kurama's actually doing great work on the point. This could really go either way. It's actually just a medic versus soldier.
Oh, Quacks is so low! They take that! Oh, so close! Quacks almost kills himself as well. If Bro Team just hit the arrow, I'm sure that would have been a win, and we could have been talking about a 3-2 right now. But it was just down to the wire, and Estrogen took my homies. Very lucky to survive in this round, as it was looking all Cat Posse's way. We do have Shining Star on the sniper. I'm trying to equalize. I don't think she's gonna get anything. Gonna escape with her life, just out of dodge right there. Kurama sticking around, trying to get some sticky damage. Will be able to leave. No other players chasing him down. So yeah, Estrogen took my homies. They kind of cheated death there, keeping themselves in this round.
Yeah, their spawns came up just in time. I think maybe if Cat Posse had gotten on the last point a little bit more quickly, they could have dealt with the fact that Pablo was coming up soon, forced the fight before the heals came in, but just barely not enough. Obviously, it was very close, as now we have a stalemate, but already with a ready-made sniper. So let's see how Shining Star plans on breaking this. Oftentimes, you'll see the sniper peek window, but you'll oftentimes see the sniper peek lower, force the medic behind the wall, and then maybe a single soldier stack. So we'll see what the plan.
Yeah, we'll see if Cat Posse can get that conditioning you were talking about, as the med is just playing behind Train right now. A little bit successful. Toss is just gearing up towards window. We'll see if that happens, but the sniper moving around, getting a shot into Raven. That's going to give more space, and KTB is taking his chance, getting into Cheese already. Now it's going to be the coordinated double bomb, getting players behind. Toss is just staying alive, making sure that he will be a nuisance as he recommits onto Pablo, and that's going to be the force out. But at what cost? They basically lost their whole team for that. And it is going to be an Uber exchange in the end. Brotein is kind of Oh, okay. It's a pause. I was like, why did he just stop walking?
Yeah, that would have been a mistake. But yeah, that was, speaking of mistakes, I think that kind of play doesn't really gel with having a sniper. Like, yeah, the sniper was what got them the advantage that led to them, kind of forcing all their heavy classes in. But at that point, you're down a scout. You're not going to, if like maybe if they had two scouts and after forcing enemy Uber, they could have used it to milk, but in this case had to not happen. And obviously losing Karama there too wasn't great. As I'm going to take this opportunity to look at the stats. I know it's only halfway through the game, but I just want to see if there are any big things sticking out. Obviously, the mid fight's swinging. It does seem like the scouts have been held more in check from Cat Posse earlier than we'd like to see, but I do think that's slowly. I think Shining Star in particular has been really stepping it up the last couple rounds. And the medic deaths are pretty close. Pablo has taken actually over 1,000 damage more than Brotein, but has only died 2 more times. But at the same time, I mean, it's even noteworthy that the medic who, is playing for the team that's winning 3-1 has died 2 additional times. And I think it really shows the mindset of Estrogen. They're not afraid to take risks, including dangling their medic in front of Cat Posse, because they feel like if the fight gets chaotic enough that they're just going to have better focus fire. And for the most part, that's been true. So, but I do think Cat Posse is maybe slowly adjusting to that play style, this last fight notwithstanding.
Yeah, for sure. For better or for worse, Pablo is that aggressive medic that you were talking about. And seems like Cat Posse, they're slowly getting themselves back into this match, getting one round a little bit luckily from the spy, but they have been playing better, giving themselves better chances in these last few rounds, as well as it is 4 players alive versus 3 on the end of this Uber. Brotein quite low as the Uber is fading away. But it seems like Yum Yum should be able to pick up Pablo at the end here, as he has him in his sights. And we'll see what happens to conclude this particular round and what was the reason, if this was a tac pause or any kind of tech pause. But we'll see what happens as we are going into it. And as I said, Yum Yum just picks up Pablo right away. Brotein is able to escape with the sniper as an escort. So Brotein just backing up all the way towards the Saw area right now. Respawners coming in. They should be able to block this midpoint. I think if they want to commit, Toss is going to commit here. Shining Star with a huge shot onto Scream. Do they know about Raven, who is in behind, trying his best, coming in from the enemy spawn, Saw. And I think they spotted him out because he did just back up, waiting towards the cat area. But this is a big advantage again for Brotein, as Pablo did go down. So we'll see what Cat Posse do if they can pounce like the Cat Posse that they are. Raven slowly making his move towards window. Is he gonna go? He's got to go faster here, because otherwise the whole team is gonna go forward onto those last, and it's gonna be a 6v5 with the Uber advantage. Raven is slowly making his way. Well, he's coming from lower. They aren't spotting him just yet. Pauly getting a first shot. Uber used in onto the last point. A lot of space being taken on the right side. So much cap time. Yum Yum just standing on the point. Yum Yum still not dying. And finally, KTB coming in with a huge bomb. 2 frags. And just like that, there's no players remaining. 4 Estrogen took my homies. And despite the fast 3-0 start, 4 Estrogen took my homies. Cat Posse have brought it back 2 rounds in a row. And it is now 3-2.
Yeah, and I hate to call anyone out by name, but that was very baffling by Raven. He had several opportunities to, try to make a play. He could have gone for the back cap on mid. He could have gone for at least some sort of medic pick, or he could have tried to get out more quickly. But instead, he left his team with pretty much no one to block the point, and the last push was just pretty trivial as a result. So let's see if how this mid goes. I do see Sleepy doing some pretty good early damage, as both teams are playing kind of slow again to begin with. Seems like there's a little fight over height, as it's kind of tough to tell how the health is with my HUD, but So far, I liked the positioning from Estrogen, but they do lose the first player on Raven, and I think they're going to slowly start to back out here. But they didn't lose too much, and I think they're going to be able to get a good hold on second. Maybe.
Oh, Polly tried
Yeah.
to slip the needle through the window, but everyone chasing him down. So it is going to be a 4v6. They are still sticking around. That's Pablo caught in. Huge serve, but it's not going to be for anything as he gets picked up from the fadeaway toss rocket. And this is looking great for Rotein, who's playing very safe, just sticking with his scouts all around. The DM battles are actually going either way. Raven gets one frag, cleans up onto the damage on Yum Yum, and the rest of the Estrogen players are coming in to defend his second point. But at the end of the day, Rotein will stay alive. So it is going to be a full advantage as they cap up the mid point.
Yeah, and it does seem like Pablo died at 98% Uber, so pretty lucky there, but well played. As we do have Scream playing, we do have Scream on the sniper, and at the same time, I believe that Sleepy put up the Kuna trap. At least that's the first person I saw use that. I'm kind of interested to see if that actually works.
Oh, Scream saw the demo man, didn't want to take the shot, and then saw Brotein, and I think Brotein saw the sniper dot, or someone called it out because he did a little bit of a stutter
it
step.
worked.
Oh, there's the
Kuna trap. The Kuna trap. Yeah, that trap is brutal. People are gonna have to start paying attention to that. I really like that trap. For those who are uninitiated, it's in the little light right in front of the lower entrance in the lobby, right in underpass. And medic, when the first guy walks in, the medic is usually right behind him, right around there. So as soon as you see a guy walk in, you dead, and the medic is usually right there.
Paying dividends. Seems like Sleepy did his map homework there, and it's going to net him a huge drop onto Brotein. Pablo with the 60% advantage. They're just stacking up onto the second point right now. Everybody grouping up towards Saw right now as the Wolf Pack moves forward. One soldier shoots one rocket in, but the Uber's already going to be used out. What are they going to get from this? Seems like Kura should get picked up here. Polly cleaning up the enemy Demo Man. And a Demo Man is a big pick, but only one pick. Is that enough? For, I mean, they do get the mid as well, so we'll see if a leapfrog comes here. As Rotein already has the Uber, they're probably going to wait for the Devil Man, but another push onto mid is going to be probably likely for Cat Posse in the next few seconds.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to at least get some ground without Karama. Looks like they might not want to wait for him. I'm not sure if I agree with that. Maybe they're underestimating their advantage, but at the same time, I kind of understand it because you still would have to recap, but so far, they've actually gotten some pretty good ground. I would have liked to see a little bit more aggression from the soldiers of Estrogen, given the lack of demo on the other team. You could have, I felt like, forced them a little bit earlier, but actually, this isn't going to be a leapfrog after all. We're going to see Cat Posse with mid, and both teams having Uber, so we'll see how they plan on breaking it.
Yeah, Scream is still in the respawn queue right now, but Raven making sure that nothing else is going to come through. Shooting rockets, trying to block out the Saw aggression. Oh, Toss doing his best, getting Pablo so low, and Pablo playing with death. Yum Yum is going to make sure that he pays for it. And that is going to be another drop onto Pablo. I don't know if it was another, just a drop onto Pablo. And that is going to give a great advantage for Cat Posse to come back into this and equalize the third round if they can convert on these advantages that they do have. 4 players walking through Saw right now. Scout getting onto the cap, and it will be counting down. Polly, we already have Scream on the engineer, Polly on the sniper. It's going to be a full bunker for Estrogen if they can stave off this last push from Cat Posse right now. As I think there is only like 40 seconds before the progressive rule set continuous overtime kicks in. Uber popped in from Shutter. The sentry gun taking a little bit of time to go down, but at least they got a lot of good space. Raven coming in to block the point. That's going to be Shining Star, the first player down. Some stickies getting shot out from Kurama, trying to zone out the players, but everybody on the side of Cat Posse is very, very low. The medic just taking his sweet time to arrow up Toss, and soon it's only going to be Toss and Yum Yum alone against 5 players of Estrogen Took My Homies, and Estrogen Took My Homies passing the test with flying colors, making sure that they are going to stay alive as the map timer ticks down. So we will be playing for the first team 2-4 rounds.
Yeah, that was textbook hold by Estrogen. They had the sniper, they had the NG, they rotated properly, their soldiers blocked point, their demo did damage, and now we see them trying to push into mid with without using It does look like they managed to force out Cat Posse without using Uber, but the Ubers are going to even out, so we're kind of in the reverse of the situation we were in a minute ago. Let's see if Estrogen finds the same sort of luck getting a drop, as I could, pretty much hear Pablo's voice in my head saying, "I'm not popping to this idiot," as the scout bounced around him, but that idiot ended up dropping him. So, see if Protein is as stubborn as Pablo is.
Yeah, Protein is just playing on top of this train right now, probably waiting for a soldier bomb so he can surf away. There's the soldier bomb coming in. He got off the train, just jumping around, and the rest of his team is picking up frags in the meantime, making it a 64. The players of Estrogen, they're just tucking tail and running right now. Pablo sticking around his own kitchen as everybody else coming in from Cat Posse. Kurama bombing in with the Demo Man stickies, and that is just going to be it for Estrogen took my homies. I guess the two-man sack means they'll sacrifice the midpoint.
Yeah, they went for a double soldier sack, which I like sometimes when you're pushing last, but I feel like pushing second like that, you just don't, if you lose both soldiers, you just don't have enough spam to keep them from walking in for free. I mean, all you really have is a Demo Man. If they avoid the traps, then yeah, it's just too easy to not pop like that. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. As Posse with a big bomb in on Pablo, not able to do much.
Pablo put on his dancing shoes and didn't even take any damage. Yum Yum onto Pablo. Oh no! Unable to finish the last frag. The last scattergun shot onto Pablo. And Pablo is not going to die to that idiot today, as it's going to be up to Estrogen to take advantage with those frags to come into this midpoint.
Yeah, as I do think Raven is barely going to survive, but okay, yeah, they managed to take this for free. As is Cat Posse trying to trade in? It looks like they are. I'm not sure if this is advisable. Sleepy manages to actually surf out, and now there's a much longer Uber for Estrogen, although they haven't got any kills yet.
Yeah, chaotic fight. KTB is going to pick up one player. Seems like Quax is probably going to crater and die here. Picked up from Shining Star. So Cat Posse keeping their players alive. 2 soldiers down is going to be a... Oh, yeah.
The backpack?
Scream is hiding. The backpack is going 2 times. Cat Posse should stack it. I think they will get it in time. And Scream is going to go down as well. So this is just an advantage. Oh, and that is a long-ass timer. 14 seconds. 1 soldier already in on last. Dueling with Quacks. It's going to be a crazy fight here. And KTB should be picked up in the end. How does he still get Quacks? What? I thought Quacks got the respawn. And Pablo somehow surviving the bomb and gets the resup as well, using the Banny Bind to full effect, but I don't know if it's gonna work. It's gonna be Polly against the world, 1 scout against the Samurai Soldier. Pablo's gonna go down. It's gonna be 3v3. Kurama clutching it out with the half Zatuichi, and we have a tie game. It's basically sudden death now. Next team to win a round wins the game.
Yeah, beautiful work by Kurama defending his waifu's honor with folded Japanese steel. As we're gonna have to see what happens on this mid fight, but yeah, it's basically next cap win, or next round rather.
Yeah, and Estrogen, they really don't want to be reverse swept here, losing 4 rounds in a row. That would really deteriorate the mental. So we'll see if they can get their heads back into this game, as they're playing quite aggressive. Sleepy just walking across the point. KTB getting into the enemy kitchen, slowly making his move, waiting for the rest of his team as Quacks bombs forward, gets shot down, but he was eating damage all the meantime, and a lot of good rockets onto Pablo. How is Pablo still alive? Nobody is even with him right now, and he was just dodging the rockets like a magician right there. Houdini's in the house, somehow manages to stay alive despite the rest of his players not being with him. So that is a little bit of a silver lining, but they are going to lose the mid fight. And with that Cat Posse, they're going to stream forward with all this momentum, get the mid, get the second point as well, and see if they can convert it into the map win.
Yeah, you can really see the momentum shifting here. You know, everything that was going well for Estrogen is just totally gone. The early picks are just going the opposite way. As Yum Yum does fall in the meantime, but yeah, we just have a nice stalemate here. And we do have 3 minutes for Cat Posse to figure out how to push it.
So they've got a lot of options. Yum Yum in the respawn. Is he going to come sniper? Oh, he's going to go spy. Is he committing? You do have the Yum Yum spy. Okay, so that's a little bit of a switch up. We'll see if it works out here, as seems like the players of Estrogen should be none the wiser. Sleepy picking up a kill onto Toss right now. 2 frags as well onto Shining Star. And Yum Yum just going towards last as the spy right now. Is he going to go for the medic? Deep cloaks. He's walking in behind. Gets the med drop as well. Pablo must be fuming and oh my lord. Yum Yum is going to stay alive as well outside of all of that. And that is going to be all the wind out of the sails of Estrogen as they were looking to do something with that 2-pick advantage. But now they're playing on a Uber disad.
Yeah, that was just beautiful timing by Yum Yum. He happened to be entering last right after another player sacked. They were not expecting a spy at that point. It was just kind of off timing. He caught them in transition in lobby. Well done. He is still on spy. He managed to survive. He's only at about 30 health, so that is a factor in this push. But it can be good if he manages to get a backstab, but otherwise he is, a slightly weaker combat class. But with the full Uber advantage, is still obviously hugely in favor of Cat Posse.
Yeah, irregular sentry gun right now is going to get spammed down really soon as well. One soldier, scout was trying to edge the point right away. Raven's going to commit to try and block it, and he's going to be the first casualty. And now Yum Yum coming in with the spy. He was trying to backstab, get Sleepy as well. Is he going to get Scream as well? 2 frags for Yum Yum, a 2K to finish it all off as it was him who led his team, Cat Posse, in that final play, getting the critical med drop and then 2 kills. And they reverse sweep in the rounds, 4-3, winning Snakewater. Cat Posse up 1-0 in the series.
Yeah, that was total Uno reverse card. I think in the beginning of the game, I mentioned the difference in medic playstyle, right? And I feel like in the first couple rounds, it was Estrogen taking advantage by picking off the most aggressive fragging classes on Cat Posse, while Bro Team is still playing pretty passive. But in the second half of that map, it was the other way around, where Pablo was just dying a huge number of times, and Bro Team was just preserving Uber advantages and just gradually wearing them down. At the end of the day, I have the stats open. I don't know if the stream does, but 6 deaths to 11 between the medics, 90 damage taken versus 150. That was a huge difference by the end of the map. Early on, they were mitigating it, but at the end of the day, that type of medic difference, you really have to play out of your mind and make up for that. And Karama also with a decent top damage, but the frags were actually pretty even overall, and the mid wins ended up being pretty even overall, despite being such a huge success for Estrogen at the beginning.
Yeah, the logs actually show a very even game, which I guess the scoreline is 3-4, but we saw it was really a tale of the momentum shift as it was up 3-0 for Estrogen. Took my homies in the first 15 minutes, but after that time, Cat Posse really off of I think it was the Shining Star spy play where it was a little bit of luck, but that's just what they needed to get themselves into the game. And after that round, they've just been slowly ramping it up and finally bringing it all back for the 4-3 map win. I think they'll take that as they go into Sultry.
Yeah, and I guess this is a pretty good time to talk about the aforementioned Sultry. Oh, actually, my producer is telling us that we're going to a break, so be back in just Yeah, so we're back. Sorry for that little delay, ladies and gents. But yeah, the next map is Sultry. And as I was saying before the first map, when it started kind of abruptly, we looked at both of these teams' records, and neither of them had played Sultry once this season. So I'm pretty confident what happened was this, right? The last game between these two teams, Estrogen lost. So they were looking for a bit of a change-up. And I guarantee you the reason that Cat Posse left the map open is they thought there was no way Estrogen was going to pick it. It was a game of chicken. Estrogen, they didn't blink. They chose Sultry. They thought they had a good chance on it. Maybe they scrimmed it a little bit more against Froyo Tech. They do have those Froyo scrims going. But that doesn't always translate. I mean, we'll see. Neither of these teams have an official game on it, so it's hard to judge. I do think the contours of this mid-fight might actually favor some of the play style, at least generally, of Estrogen. But I was watching Cat Posse first time this map, and they actually looked pretty fine. Shining Star actually dropped 50 kills in a map, so I mean, we'll see what ends up happening, but I do think that there's a little bit of momentum with Cat Posse. You have to imagine Estrogen might be a little tilted how they ended up losing that game.
Yeah, I mean, they even tried to use, I think it was the tac pause after the second round to stop a little bit of the momentum, but it was not working out in their favor. Really, I don't think we even saw, I might be wrong on that, but I don't think they even were winning mid fights or like getting onto the enemy's side of the map. It was all just Cat Posse basically after that first round. So we'll see if they can get their heads into the games here on Sultry. And yeah, I think you were talking about the pick bands. Like they were playing the previous matchups between Cat Posse and Estrogen. They were both involving Bagel and it being 4-3. And I think it was Cat Posse that actually banned that as the first ban. So they saw that I guess Estrogen was playing quite close and getting them close on Bagel. So they didn't want to chance that. They picked Snakewater. And then when it was Estrogen's turn to pick, I guess their mindset was what you were describing. It's a little bit of a wild card here as both teams haven't played it. So it gives them a puncher's chance, which they definitely need now, especially after that map one.
Yeah, as I hate to say it, I love this game, I love our community, but you know, we don't always have players don't always have the best mindset in this game, and I feel like we don't see a lot of 3 map series the way you'd expect. I feel like they're even with teams that are pretty evenly matched. I've just been seeing a lot of 2 map series these days. I feel like sometimes teams sort of get tilted, lose confidence, whatever after a first map loss. But I'm hoping Estrogen, with their experience, can prove me wrong and rally and show why they picked this map. I mean, objectively speaking, if the other team won their map pick only 4-3, that should be a sign that you have a chance on your own map pick. But they might not feel that way given how they kind of let it slip out of their grasp. But I guess for viewers who are not as familiar with Sultry, although it has been an invite for a couple seasons, uh, I've been doing my research. I've been grinding. I've been trying to study the map, and I feel like to me it kind of reminds me of a bit of a cross between Villa and Propaganda, or maybe Metalworks and Propaganda. I don't know if anyone remembers CP Propaganda from earlier in RGL. I think there's a lot of space on the second point to kind of dry push and get some nice space in. But I think these mid fights are going to be very soldier dominated. I'm kind of interested to see what the soldiers of both teams can do because there's a lot of good spam angles, a lot of good places to land with double bombs. But yeah,
Yeah, a lot of great places to jump as well. And I think the skybox just being more free allows for the soldiers to express themselves in the ways that they want to. So we'll see if Quacks and Raven can lead that way for Estrogen Took My Homies, as we do have 12 players in the server as we get ready for this map 2. Do you think Estrogen can take this map 2 and we will see the 3-map series, or are you calling it for Cat Posse here?
I think they can, and I think Estrogen has to have felt like they had more experience on this map. I mean, I was watching Cat Posse, and the way that some of them were talking in their pregame warm, they were not that familiar with everything we do on this map. It felt like they were newly discovering things like as they were playing. But at the end of the day, in TF2, if you keep your medic alive with a combo scout and just kill people running at you, you know a lot of good can happen. So I feel like if Cat Posse kind of keeps it simple, sticks to that heuristic, and just has like Shining Star and Bro Team kind of establishing a place a little farther back in the fight in some of these mid fights, and just manages to deny some of the players on Estrogen, maybe their lack of knowing exactly, maybe they won't have perfectly coordinated last pushes or perfectly coordinated, stack waves or dry pushes, but things are pretty intuitive. I hope good players, can look at a map and kind of analogize places to other maps. Say like, oh, pushing through Frog into second is kind of like IT on process because it takes you right out to the point, but you're probably gonna have to use Uber. Or like, oh, this part of the mid fight, it's kind of like Villa where like you could double bomb but then fade. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old man ranting, but I hope that these players can find sort of little tips and tricks as they play the map and figure out a way to give us a good game.
Yeah, for sure. Get any advantage that you can and regain that momentum that you lost. So we'll see if Estrogen can do this. As we said, in the greater context of these games, the winner of this, this is all in stage 2, so nobody's going to be eliminated or done from playoffs or anything like that, as we do have a new format in this season of Invite. And so, for context, the winners of this will be playing. Both teams actually will still be playing in the middle. It's like the later part of this stage 2. It's like the middle bracket, whatever, for final seeding. So I think the winner of this game will be playing LeBron-Constantinople, and the
Mhm.
losers will be playing the Covenant. So still lots of matches to be played. It's not like everything is on the line. In reality, it really is just a seeding match, but surely Estrogen, still want to win the seeding match. So we'll see if they can turn it around here.
Yeah, and I do want to emphasize that these teams were not that far below either LeBron or the Covenant by the end of the season. I think did the Covenant even lose to Cat Posse in the last game of the season, but Cat Posse just they couldn't make up the difference in round wins. I think it might have been something along those lines. Correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, but yeah, I think these teams, they might not have quite the pedigree of LeBron or the Covenant, especially based on preseason expectations. But crazier things have happened. So definitely keep an eye on that bracket.
I think it's going to be really funny if after everything they finish the middle seed final little tournament bracket, and the final seeds is just going to be the same as at the start of stage 1 or at the end of stage 1. It's just like nothing happened in all of stage 2.
It's definitely possible. I guess silver lining. Maybe we just got to see some good TF2 along the way and entertain some viewers, even if it ultimately leads us back to where we started.
That's true. Everything is for the viewer here. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks
Yeah,
for sticking with us.
it seems like we're just waiting for Toss to load back in. He had to restart his game, but that tells me that when he does, we'll be ready to go pretty quickly. And yeah, it does seem like the players are having fun in chat, keeping their spirits high. You never know. We're just hoping that the Estrogen can kind of recover, maybe do a slightly better job of preserving their medic's life, or at least killing Bro Team at the same time. Uh, this map is a little interesting in that regard because there are a lot of easy escape routes for Medic, but if you're not careful, you can also get stuck in a lot of corners and low grounds on mid or on second or on last, really anywhere. There's a lot of geometry on this map, so actually that is something to keep an eye on. The line between medics, being completely safe and getting insta-gibbed is pretty small on this map.
So, what do you think of an over under on 15 deaths for Pablo?
Uh it'd be fun to say over. It'd be yes ending you if this were improv, but I'm gonna say under. I just think in a Banny config game, that's just so many medic deaths. But if it is over 15, then I don't think they're winning this game.
It will certainly be a real test if that does happen. I mean, I think Pablo, what was it, like 11 or 12 deaths in the previous map? So they were getting there, but they did have the overtime, and we'll see if we even get there. We'll see if we get any rolls. As it is 12 players in the server, Toss has loaded back in. We should be getting ready real soon into this map 2 of Sultry.
Yeah,
And yeah, just as a reminder, if we do have Estrogen take this map, make it a tied 1-1 series, we will have Metalworks as the third map, which should be exciting. So we'll see if we can get there, but we got to go through Sultry first. So power towards Estrogen on giving us a more entertaining series.
yeah. As I'm just hoping, I'm working with incomplete information here, Trad, because neither of these teams have played this map this season. But I feel like Estrogen, having been around in the previous Sultry season, having scrimmed Froyo a ton. That's another thing to note, by the way, that right before this game, you had Cat Posse, who were scrimming Rome, who are kind of a rebuilding team and winning pretty easily. And meanwhile, you had Estrogen scrimming Froyo and getting blasted. So what can you take from that? I don't know. We're going live. I was stalling for time. Let's go. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens in this map 2. It's going to be 1-0 up in the lead for Cat Posse after they pulled off a seemingly impossible reverse sweep, winning 4 rounds in a row to take Snakewater 4-3. And they're looking to keep the momentum up into map 2 right now. It's going to be Estrogen to see if they can stop that. on Sultry. So we'll see what happens right now. Quack's just on top of Seagull, spamming down rockets. Both players not committing quite yet. Sleepy getting the first frag onto the enemy Demo Man, and both players, both soldiers of Estrogen, just skydiving around, flying around. Seems like they didn't actually have to do much because it was all on Sleepy right there, getting the first frag, and now they're pushing forward. Pablo dodging all these rockets, finally going to go down. KTP landing the critical rocket, and the scouts cleaning up. So it's going to be the medic down, but it seems like the rest of the frags are all going in favor of Estrogen right now. Their medic was going down as well. Protein. Kurama just dodging all these stickies, playing with Quacks right now, and Yum Yum picking up 2 frags in the meantime. Are they going to be able to get Polly right now? Polly's trying to finish up Yum Yum, but Yum Yum still surviving on a sliver of HP, just trying to do anything to stay alive. But after all of that, somehow Estrogen, they will get the second point right now, as the respawners coming in from Cat Posse to clean it back up. And a very long extended fight, both medics going down, lots of players losing it all out. But we should just go back. Okay, I should just stop talking because Pablo is just going to be aggressive and die as well. So
yeah, there's a bit of a trap on this map, I think, where choke looks a lot easier to get in for free than some chokes in some maps, but it's easier to be counter bombed too. You really have to bait out those soldier bombs, and your scouts really have to watch for them. Pablo and Polly and Scream were able to walk through this choke, but the counter bombs of those soldiers just can catch you right there, and that's exactly what happened. As I'm looking at Quacks in a bit of a cheeky hiding spot in Cheese, what is known as Cheese on this map, but it seems like he's been caught. And with that pick, let's see if Brotein decides to just try to get in without using their Uber. There's a lot, pushing through Cheese on this map is kind of like a sewer or on Process, or a cafe on Sunshine, where you can get a lot of free ground off the picks. And we see Estrogen desperately trying to build up this Uber, but it's only going to be about 75%, I think, by the time Cat Posse pushes it. 80%.
Yeah, Uber's going to pop out right now, using the little advantage that they have for Cat Posse. Sentry Gun going down. Quack's going to be the first casualty as well. It's going to be close. Pablo only needs 5% more healing right now. Is he going to get it? Using the Uber straight away, trying to get any of the frags. Sleepy manages to get one on Shining Star, and Toss is going to try and escape through dungeon. Manages to get out. Oh, I shouldn't have spoken, as Polly is going to finish up the frag. Manages to stay alive for the rest of his team, as the respawners are slow to come in. They are just waiting for them, but now they are all up, and it is going to be up to Cat Posse to just survive right now, as the rest of their players of Estrogen are streaming in through the shutter. A lot of good damage. Kurama getting a frag onto Polly, but he's going to get caught off and choke as well, unable to escape. KTB in the backlines, but in the meantime, Estrogen should be able to get this second point and move forward. It is going to be an Uber equal situation. So KTB is just going to be in the back line, see if he can coordinate any kind of pinch maneuver.
The Shining Stars on Sniper, taking some early pot shots. Raven is lit, but still getting some good headshots off, as I do think this is going to potentially force Estrogen to back up, but they are seemingly trying to push mid without a huge advantage or anything. They do get an Uber force out, but Pablo's at 98. He dies at 98.
Oh, Pablo got disconnected from his pockets. And Polly is going to clean up the sitting still sniper frag. And it seems like the fragging classes are all in favor of Estrogen, as it is going to be a 3v1 at the end. Yum Yum against the World, and the World is just going to crush him there, as Polly is standing on the mid. So it works out in the end for Estrogen. Despite all of that, they are going to get Pablo on the faster respawn as well. So they'll have around a 20% advantage. It is quite small, but they do get the midpoint as well. And seems like Raven and Polly, they're already scouting it out. Okay, Raven gets caught by the trap, so Polly's going to back up wisely. But they still do have this 20% advantage. We'll see if they do anything with it.
Yeah, as this has been pretty pure chaos. We're seeing a lot of teams decide to dry push just 6v5 with no other advantage, which is fun to watch, but it's definitely led to a lot of very messy fights. And yeah, here we're seeing Kurama put up an early trap as Toss goes down, not necessarily advisable.
Toss tried the same hiding spot that I think Quacks did, and both soldiers have been punished so far. Both teams. Oh my god, Kurama is so aggressive here. Is he going to get caught out? He is going to get caught out. So both teams, even if you're the ones holding second or not holding second. You're going to get caught out in that choke area as we see the Uber popped out as well. Bro team did not have to use, but they did lose a bunch of players. And Pablo is so aggressive, just sticking with his Devilman. He's going to get caught in dungeon. Toss just walks in behind, 2 rockets him down. And in the meantime, it's Brotein and his Devilman against the world. But his Devilman is pretty good. Yeah, Kurama is pretty good at shooting stickies and hitting pipes.
And again, so they saw the big philosophical difference between the two medics. I felt Brotein maybe got a little too passive, could have stayed with Shining Star there and taken a counter Uber, but then Pablo probably got too aggressive and died trying to push last. So I think maybe both medics making slight oopsies, but in the end, that great Uber save with or that great hold with Kurama manages to win the fight back for Cat Posse.
Yeah, luckily Pablo spawned up fast enough, and the use from Brotein means that it's actually quite even as long as they keep building it up. And both teams, I mean, the scouts are just looking at each other building the Ubers, so we should have an even situation. Let's see what happens as they try and break it, if it'll be up to the soldiers of Raven and Quacks to get something going, as seems like the players just rotating around. Brotein just sitting by the steps near Cheese right now, near the shutter door, getting ready to escape if any kind of bomb does come through.
Yeah, I'm trying to see what Estrogen's plan for this is. They could try to get more picks in Cheese, or they could maybe do a high bomb through Choke. Looks like they're still feeling it out. It looks like Quacks is clearing out Cheese. I don't think Cat Posse is making the same mistake. They're playing it much more passively than they did before. This is probably going to just have to be a sack. I don't think they're going to be getting any forward kills here. As, yeah, Raven gets in. Nice attempt, but Brotein manages to surf just a little bit up, and let's see if there's a counter play, a counter push, or just a counter sack.
So it's going to be Toss going in behind towards the enemy Frog. The rest of his players all grouped up towards Choke. Toss is going to make his move now, gets 1 rocket into Poly. Huge damage. Unfortunately, the other scout is going to turn around and clean up the kill, but in the meantime, the rest of his team is still just sticking around Choke, finally committing forwards now. Their escape route is probably going to have to be Cheese here. KTB is going to get caught out a little bit too aggressive without his rest of his team, and the scout running forward. Nobody's with Pablo. Pablo finally fearing and pops to Yum Yum. He would never do that in map 1, and now is going to be up to see if Brotein can escape all the way. He is backing up towards Elbow, just sticking around the second point. Seems like nobody... Oh, there's 2 players in the backline. Quacks and Scream coming back around. 1 rocket onto Brotein. That's enough for him to pop, and they are going to clean up the 2 players in the backline. But after everything, we'll see if the respawns come just in time for Estrogen. But it seems like they will lose the midpoint. So overall, a good play from Cat Posse to break the stalemate and move themselves a little bit forward in this map.
As we should have a leapfrog scenario here unless Cat Posse goes for some really, really crazy push. I don't think so. Looks like Kurama's just trying to trap up Cheese. And we'll see which doorway Estrogen chooses to push through. If they go through Fog, Cheese, or Choke. Their Uber advantage isn't that large, though, so they better get a move on.
Yeah, the advantage is actually very small, and there's only 10% remaining before it is gone completely. Uber used in to get some space. Kurama could go down, but unfortunately, the Uber's going to come out, save all their players. 1 player down, and on the side of Toss, seems like nobody else is going to go down on the side of Estrogen, managing to keep all their players alive as they come in for the drive fight. They're eating so much damage as they come through Cheese right now. Poly is going to clean up frags, though, and the soldier coming in, Quacks making his late move, and all in all, Pablo's going to go down as well. A messy fight, a 2v1, but in the end, Estrogen wins it out on top. Scream just fighting against the late soldier of Toss, but Toss is going to hightail it out of there. So another messy fight, but a win on the mid for Estrogen.
Yeah, I actually really liked that repush from Estrogen, even though they only had 1 player advantage. You know, the Ubers were both done. They used their light positioning around right outside of Cheese. They managed to get back in, but Yum Yum with some really good salvage, managing to take down the entire combo pretty much of Estrogen, which, you know, saved the Uber advantage. Now we're back to another stalemate. Let's see if Estrogen has the patience to wait until 100% Uber if they're going to do something crazy in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, we'll see if it happens. I mean, one thing we can definitely see already in this map, a lot of scrappiness. Teams just going off of these small advantages and a lot of, like, crazy, ridiculous DM fights at the end. Just only, like, 2-3 players surviving after all has finished. So, definitely a little inexperience showing, I guess you could say, in these two teams on this map. Or it could just be the pace of the match, how it's gone after this first map, as it's going to be Raven trying to skip jump through, get
Yum
onto
Yum's on
KDB.
sniper.
We do have a sniper. Yum Yum on sniper, slowly scoping in on the second point right now.
Yeah, I guess he was the one who got bored after all, as Raven
Oh,
goes in with the
the
force.
kills to Rockets! I don't even know where he came in from, but drops Protein.
He just did a big high bomb through choke, and that everyone was preoccupied with the sniper. They were not watching for that. They were just trying to get their sniper set up, and yeah, pretty quick push by Estrogen. They did get forced taking second. Let's see if they roll this all the way to last. They do have a 6v4, but the spawns are coming up pretty soon. They have to find a way to get in here for free. Karama's doing a really good job delaying them from that god spot in lobby, and I think he did a pretty good job because everyone is up for Cat Posse, and now I don't think it's good as Shining Star with the Brass Beast just absolutely melting Quacks. And this looks like it's probably going to be a reset. Very tiny ad for Estrogen, but I don't know if it's really pushable. Maybe it is. We'll see.
Yeah, actually, they've been building it quite well. It's a 30% ad now. I don't know if they know that, if they'll be aware of Protein not building it as well. It's down 20% now. But their players are slow coming back from the respawn, so we'll see if they do elect to do it. And it seems like they are or are not. No, I don't think they are going to be using this, as Protein already at 90%. Sentry gun set up for Yum Yum behind the wall right now, and seems like we will have a stalemate situation, but it is new ground here. It is up to Estrogen this time to push onto the last point with this stalemate situation. So we'll see what they can cook up here. As Raven is just up in the air. I wanted to see if the air shot would happen, but the sentry gun is going to take the kill, and they lose 2 players off of that, losing Scream as well. So a 4v6, 2-player advantage. It's going to be Toss leading the way. High bomb, really good rockets onto Pablo, and Pablo just playing.
Wow.
Man, how does he get out? Avoids KDB's rockets.
As actually Protein gets forced in instead, and now Pablo has a chance to go back in with full Uber at, and he's choosing to take.
We got that solo Uber pop onto nothing.
Yeah.
As Pauly just calls for the Uber, and they're going to get absolutely nothing. And Shining Star in the back lines is going to get cleaned up, but I guess that Uber didn't even do anything. So it's like both teams just used the Uber, and we're back to where we were.
Yeah, this is going to sound weird, but I think that was a misread based on the map. They Ubered through Cheese as if that was the best way to get quickly onto the other team, but Cheese, like I said, is more like a cafe on Sunshine or a sewer on Process, where you usually use it to dry push, try to take some ground and positioning, but it's actually not that easy to get straight onto the medic through that door. And yeah, the medic was pretty far back, so that isn't the door I would pick. If I were going to try something like that, I'd probably go through Frog, either that or just Milk, but that was not the case. And now actually Protein has had Uber advantage, but I'm not sure if their team is going to risk moving out. As Shining Star was just checking for spies, but we have a pretty annoying hold with the Pyro and the Sentry. Shining Star using the stealth most OP weapon in the game, the Scorch Shot, but we'll see if this hold can be broken. Last time it was more the failed push out rather than any break of the last.
Yeah, there's only 1 minute remaining, so Estrogen don't have a lot of time. And wow, Raven is almost going to go down there, eating a lot of spam. Dispenser pick, huge frags from Sleepy here, but I don't think that's going to be enough to warrant a push.
Yeah, not quite. So we're seeing a little one-man sack from Scream. You wonder if he's going to go Sniper. Spy maybe seems a little too obvious, giving his pedigree. Yes, he actually goes Heavy. This is kind of interesting. Typically, the way you use a Heavy in a situation like this, you have 2 options, okay? Either this signals that they're going to do a double Soldier sack and then have their Heavy holding on Spire, or actually, because of the Banny config, it's probably more likely going to be an Uber trade and then walk back in with the Heavy fully quick heal at the end of the fight. I imagine, yeah, that's what we're going to see with the 20 seconds left. But the gun and Pyro might make this pretty difficult. The Uber hasn't even gone off yet for Protein, and I don't think this is going to end up working out.
Yes, they aren't committing at all, and Scream is just sitting around right now as it counts down 2-1, gets onto the point, a little bit of cap time, but those Pyros, those Ubers, those Stickies, all the defensive measures come out in force for Cat Posse, and we're going to have a reset.
Yeah, I think if the gun had been on the point, that might have worked out better, but they chose to push out, try to push through left, through the wall side, and that gun on the right, from their perspective, was just so perfect for that push. It just didn't give them a chance. As yeah, we see another mid, and you'll recall that Karama got kind of owned by Sleepy on the last mid. Sleepy again with early damage. I'm wondering if he's just a little bit faster, and if they're just playing very effectively off of that. It does seem like this time Karama's holding his own a little bit more. It might actually get a bit of a more competitive mid fight.
Ooh, Toss with the real high bomb, staying alive after all of that bombing. And it's going to be Raven in the backlines trying to equalize something, but that was some nice aggression from the soldier on the side of Cat Posse. They do lose Protein, though, so Pablo, it's kind of the roles reversed, playing passive and making sure that he stays alive, sticking with his pocket scout. The respawner is now coming in. Raven manages to trade 1-for-1 in the backline, so they will have this full Uber advantage. They did lose the midpoint. We'll see what they do with this as they gear up slowly towards the choke area. Toss is in behind on their frog. Not sure if they know. They're going to pick up Karama here. Toss making his move. Gets one rocket, trying to spoon. Gets some good damage on a Pablo. And again, Pablo going to use this time, but keeping himself alive. And they're going to roll forward. I guess they're okay with it because they have 3 frags in their advantage. The rest of Cat Posse are not in a position to defend the second
Shining
point.
Star, though? Shining Star on heavy in forward spawn? Is that going to come into play?
Yeah, unfortunately, the forward spawns is quite far from the point. Or, like, far enough where... Okay, he's going to shoot at Scream instead. But the element of surprise has been broken. So I was going to say, unless the med was, like, walking through elbow, it's a little tough. But Shining Star still being a nuisance with the Brass Beast finally going to despawn. Go back as the rest of Cat Posse now scoping their way through Valley right now. And it's going to be Wax just bombing forward onto the point. Soldier Toss going to kill himself. Pablo sticking around in the middle. He doesn't have Uber just yet, but finally has it. Was trying to play with fire right now. Uber trade coming out. Raven going to be the first frag, and Polly is going to be a better Uber for the side of Estrogen. Less flashing. Polly can really cook right now if he can actually hit some shots. Sleepy going to clean up, and there's going to be a back cap in the meantime. Scream getting a lot of cap time. All the rest of Estrogen now walking through a narrow chokehold, but nobody is there to stop it. And Quacks getting some great damage, raining down onto the players, and Estrogen finally taking another round, 1-0 in this second map.
Yeah, and I do admire the moxie of Cat Posse trying to push out a last with like a 15% Uber advantage, but it was not advisable. They lost players early. Pablo got his Uber in time, and then they were able to just use it on the point, have a much better trade, and yeah, that was all she wrote. But I will say Cat Posse's mid was more competitive. Raven kind of bailed out Estrogen with a really nice medic pick and then wreaking havoc behind, but let's see if Karama can stay a little bit healthier like he did that second mid. He is getting kind of hurt, but there is some early aggression, some Shining Star in the scouts, but without Karama to follow up, it might be a little not perfect, not very well coordinated. And yeah, actually, this time the bomb went off right as Karama was backing up and getting arrowed. The timing wasn't great, and as a result, pretty easy win for Estrogen. Broti did stay alive, but he wasn't healing for a really long time, so this is almost a 50% Uber ad for Pablo. You expect him to realize that and take it, although Sleepy isn't quite there yet.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. 2 players ahead right now. Raven leading the charge. Uber and on a soldier and a scout right now. Sentry Gun is actually going to get a frag real quick on the side of Cat Posse, and a little bit too eager for Estrogen. The rest of the team were not ready to go out with the Uber, so a little bit of a misstep, a little bit of a missed opportunity. So it's going to be up to Cat Posse, see if they can do something with this advantage, and they are slowly walking towards Valley right now, clearing it slowly out. Scream is just hiding an elbow. He's going to get onto Protein and get the early force, and Scream is just going to go in the backlines as well. There's only a sentry gun, a 1v1 in the meantime in the last point. Other players coming back. Protein is just all alone, and Scream comes back from his last point adventures and just picks up a med pick for free. I guess he was saying, I don't even know what he must be thinking after seeing the med just wandering all alone. But now it's going to be a prime opportunity for Estrogen again, walking back in, getting the frags onto the sentry guns, traded out. But all the trades are in their favor because the respawns are too slow for Cat Posse. It's going to be a 2-0 for Estrogen on Sultry. We really might be seeing a map 3 here.
Seems that way, and yeah, I mean, that did feel like a little bit of a map knowledge diff with the flanks of the two teams, didn't it? Like, Scream just, his knowledge of like places to stand, timing, just found the perfect angle both to force Protein and to wreak havoc behind, and just it does seem like Cat Posse their scouts and soldiers in particular are not as familiar with this map.
Yeah, we'll see if Cat Posse can start any kind of comeback that they had, just like in map 1. It's going to have to start pretty soon as the momentum is building on the side of Estrogen right now, and it's just rolling forward in this mid as well. It's like a repeat of the first round. Kurama going to be the first frag. One soldier, Toss trying to stick in behind right now, trying to stay alive. He's getting hunted down by the rest of the scouts. Polly finishes him off. So again, really nice play from Estrogen. Bro team managed to stay alive this time, so they will have an Uber defend the last. But again, Estrogen just looking so much more comfortable on Sultry right now, winning these mids and taking it all the way to the other team's last point.
Yeah, again, Sleepy did really good damage on that mid. He managed both to hurt Kurama, but also to force the soldiers off of height. And then once they were just sort of stuck in that little death valley, it was just pretty easy for his team. But this is even Ubers, and we'll see how Estrogen actually tries to break this. I believe last time it was... no, actually, I'm wrong. Ignore me. Estrogen has tried this before. Again, I don't think they've actually had success forcing Bro Team, but they've had success with
both times it's been Cat Posse. Excuse me.
Careful there.
It's been Cat Posse failing the last pushes. And Toss was on spot, gets fragged in the meantime. And both teams losing 2 players. I don't think Cat Posse are going to try it out, but what I was trying to say is both times Estrogen have gotten rounds. It's not because they've actually managed to break the last hold. It's more of Cat Posse pushing out with a supposed advantage and then messing up the push out. So we'll see what happens as Shining Star with the scored shot. Does she have a flog as well? She has a flog as well, so we'll see if that comes into play. But Scream is on Sniper as well, so we'll see if that can net any frags and any openings.
Yeah, Scream, a well-known off-class goblin. He's good at this sort of thing. But yeah, that scored shot just building up flog. Let's see if they expect that. And let's see how risky Shining Star is willing to get win if she manages to get that.
So the med is playing behind the wall right now. It should not give any opportunity for the sniper, but the sniper can pick off the flog pyro because he is not behind the wall. So an opening, perhaps, more space given for the sniper as they're trying to walk through this small little doorway right here. Clearing the stickies, Toss is going to try and deny this, get on top of the wall, shoot some rockets down. And Raven is just trying to kill the sentry gun from the window, but good old Yum Yum doing a good job whacking the sentry gun and keeping it alive. So the last defense holds for now.
It's pretty ironic that Estrogen's doing such a good job of teamwork, except for getting 2 players to spam the sentry at the same time. That's the one thing that sort of eluded them, but yeah, we're back to the same situation we were prior to that sniper pick on the pyro. Yeah, I just think if they were able to get the gun, they would have so many more opportunities to either get their sniper deeper or to use the sniper as a distraction for an Uber force attempt from their soldiers.
Yeah, nothing happening right now as we tick down on the round timer. Around 1 minute remaining. Scream just peeking the same sight lines over and over again, but Routine is very comfortable sitting behind the wall, and Scream really aggressive, really far out. He's actually going to get killed by the sentry gun. That was evident of how far he was swinging to try and get the hero shot, but...
Yeah, Scream really trying to listen to Twitch user Hunter20, and it didn't work out in the meantime.
Oh, we have the flog!
Start with the flog play! It wasn't
It's not going to get the frags, unfortunate. But that was a cool attempt. Something to at least note. So we'll see as the round timer ticks down. Uber popped out, taking quite a while. So they're going to Uber the engineer who was fixing the sentry gun. And the mulch is going to be crazy as the 2 soldiers coming in. The frags are actually going in favor of Cat Posse right now. In the meantime, Raven getting cleaned up. It's going to be Shining Star and the demo, a 3v3. This is a good chance for Estrogen if they can get onto the point. The traps of Kurama picking up Scream, who tried to get onto the point, and unfortunately, that should be it. Unless Shining Star is going to go for the cap here, delay it just a little bit longer. Why not? Because they do have the advantage, and perhaps just a little bit too fast from Estrogen, mistiming it, because now Cat Posse managing to get off of their last with the Uber advantage as well, and the off classes are going to be coming in force.
Not quite working though.
Yeah, Raven was a spy. I don't even know where, but got picked off. And now this is just full momentum for Cat Posse.
Yeah, let's see if they're able to hold this Uber all the way to last, because that's probably what you want to see here. And yeah, they are. Let's see how they choose to push this. Oftentimes you see teams go dungeon because it's the fastest. This is another good option going left. This is usually more for milking, as there is no gun yet on the other team, so this should be really hard to hold. Really nice bomb that case. Beautiful.
Beautiful frags, just zoning out the players. Cap time on the point, Yum Yum initiating, and the players are all falling, and perhaps a little bit too eager on the side of Estrogen. It's going to bite them in this round as they lose it. And now, shades of map 1
That is exactly what I was going to say. I didn't want to jinx it. I mean, I didn't want to, bring it about. I don't know if it's something, it's a taboo to mention it, but this is pretty much exactly what happened. Estrogen was rolling. They got a little too loose. They made one mistake. It kind of gave Cat Posse confidence. Unfortunately, it was immediately followed up by Kurama failing his rollout, and not just by a little bit. So I'm not so sure how that's going to work out. Who knows? Maybe him being that slow will actually give them the change-up that they need.
Yeah, in fact, I feel like that is what's happening because the positioning of Cat Posse is so much better right now, at least initially, and they are getting the first frags. Quax is going to go down. Seems like Raven is close to follow right now. So maybe Kurama should just keep failing his rollouts because it is paying dividends. A lot of cap time on the side of Estrogen. I don't know if this is like a strategy they're doing, having 2 scouts on top of the midpoint, but finally Cat Posse, after getting healthy, they're only going to come back in with the aggression. Their soldiers and Demo leading it in. Scream sticking around trying to finish off some frags, but it is... Sleepy was trying to do his own little bomb but gets shot before he could even do anything. And I guess the lesson is Kurama to just roll out choke instead of cheese because it works better for your team.
Yeah, so demos, up-and-coming demos, if you're watching this, just fail your rollout every time. 100% success rate in this invite match.
Yeah, but, if invite demos can do that, then you can do that too. So it works.
If you want a championship every time you fail to roll out an invite match, I'd be like banning 10 times over. But unfortunately, it usually doesn't work out that way. And we do have a full Uber advantage for Cat Posse, and they're taking it right this time. It is the fastest way to the gun. They do manage to get it. They can start getting on the cap pretty quickly. Most of the players are in spawn. This is looking pretty good for them. And yeah, I think this is just going to be another round, barring some miracle.
Oh, there was a little bit of a possibility. Scream, it was down to a 2v2 at the end, but being the heavy weapons guy, he's just too fat to get to the last point. So unfortunately, if you stand on that point for Cat Posse, you just cap it up. And now it is 2-2. And it's even better than map 1. They've already tied it up before the overtime.
Yeah, as Kurama does seem to be going choke again on purpose again. Not as much of a failure as last time. And I wonder if his team is again going to try to do a bit of a right side mid. It seems like this is something that, at least for the first time, Estrogen wasn't really calibrated to deal with. Kurama's just doing a ridiculous amount of damage. And yeah, I think this is just going to be another mid win.
The scouts are kind of farming right now. Scream at least getting one, or Polly getting 1 frag right now. It is a 2v3, but let's see if these 2 hit scans can do something. Shouldn't have said anything because Scream is going to get cleaned up. Polly going to be the first player down, actually. Scream sticking around. Can he pick up the Demo Man? Cannot. Does manage to get Shining Star, but the clutch arrows from Bro Team keeping his Demo alive. So at least... Oh, they lost Pablo. I didn't even see that.
Ouch.
That's an ouch.
Yeah, now, it would have been even better for them, a little game theory here, if this had happened with like 45 seconds left, because then they would have had the opportunity to wait for the round timer and push last. As it is, they're probably going to be pushing last with about 15 seconds left. But hey, who knows? Maybe they could delay the cap. Maybe we can end up with the Banny config wet dream scenario. Although, as I say that, it looks like this is actually going to be a 2-hold rather than a last hold. As we see a push through Frog, which is kind of the most aggressive way to get in, but it's not being held very aggressively.
Oh, Soldier in behind. Raven gets 1 good rocket onto Broteen. Is Broteen going to pop? Finally, Quacks finishing it off with the scare damage right now. Sleepy going to have to make sure to stay alive. The respawns are going to be slow. 7 seconds until any player is upcoming for Estrogen right now. It's going to be these 3 players against the world, and it's going so tough. Sleepy doing his best, getting some great damage, and now the respawners are actually in. and it's going to be Quacks standing on this high ground, trying to kill Shining Star. Shining Star is dancing around so well, getting all the frags that the stats are cleaning house.
It happened. That's the map.
How does that happen? And it's 3-2, and just like that, our dream of a third map is over, and Cap he pulls it out with the clutch plays at the end.
Yeah, I don't know if you were picking up what I was putting down, Trad, but that was sort of what I was trying to hint at. The timing just seemed to be just perfect for that epic Manny config exploit, which ended up happening.
In fact, you know, if Sleepy had not popped off and killed a bunch of people, and if he died sooner, maybe they'd capped sooner, you know?
Yeah.
Actually, probably not. They probably would have delayed, but I don't know.
These are the vagaries of the Manny config, and yeah, that was a really good reversal from I don't really know what to say. Cat Posse just once again bringing it back, and I'm looking at the logs, trying to get a picture of what happened. I'm seeing Yum Yum kind of going ham, 30 kills, seeing good damage from Karama and Shining Star as always. The medic deaths were not super crazy in either direction, but I will note that Yum Yum had 5 med picks on Scout, so maybe he having played, maybe this is something I should have taken into account, right? Yum Yum was the former Froyo player, right? If anyone has, spent an unnecessarily long amount of time playing this map for many seasons, it is him. So maybe he was sort of the hidden factor. But again, it really seemed like, Estrogen went into these maps, both maps, with sort of a better plan of how to play mids and just got some momentum rolling. But then when Cat Posse was able to settle down and just sort of keep all their key players alive and just sort of take DM fights, I do feel like they sort of had a bit of a DM advantage, at least with their combo. And over time, they were able to grind some of these fights back. But you have to think that Estrogen's going to be disappointed. They're going to be looking themselves in the mirror saying, we really had a chance at both of these maps, and it just didn't work out.
Yeah, make any kind of mistake, and Cat Posse are going to pounce on it like the Cat Posse that they are. And congratulations to them as they take it 2-0 in the series. They're actually the team record. Cat Posse versus Estrogen is an emphatic 3-0 this season now, and we'll see if it continues. As again, the context of this match, it's not like any of these teams are eliminated. In fact, they are going to go straight into the last part of stage 2, which are going to be these final seeding matches. It's going to be LeBron-Stantinople versus, who is it? Cat Posse, and then Estrogen versus the Covenant. So actually, if somehow we see Cat Posse and Estrogen win, they could match up again in the final seeding match. But we'll see if that happens. Or if they both lose, right? I think that's how it works. Matches.
I'm hearing from our intrepid producer, Jay, the CO, whatever he goes by these days, that we are getting an interview. We're going to get some of Cat Posse coming in. So we'll have that in a minute. But yeah, commiserations to Estrogen. They really did have a chance. This whole season, even though Cat Posse has won every game between these two teams, it's always been by a pretty small margin. So, I guess get them next time, champs. But
close calls, and it was entertaining for sure for us, the casters, and hopefully for you all, the viewers, as you watched. Thanks for tuning in tonight, and hopefully we do get this interview real soon as we're waiting for the player. Do we know? Oh, okay, I was wondering who are we actually getting? Okay, so we have news that perhaps Toss will come, but perhaps Toss will not come. So we'll see as we wait around. But yeah, I think in the greater context, as we said, there's still a couple matches to round out stage 2 and determine the final seeding. So we'll see what happens. 4 teams will remain playing some final seeding matches. As I said, it's going to be now LeBron-Stantinople versus Cat Posse, and Estrogen took my homies against the Covenant. And at the end of those last few matches, we'll see how the seeding will go into playoffs.
Protein and Toss are coming to join us very soon.
Oh, we're getting the whole gang in here. Okay, we've got Protein, Toss, and Karama, all from Cat Posse. You guys just won 2 maps in real close fashion, down on both maps, and bringing it back in some reverse sweep fashions. How are you all feeling on these
I'm feeling
close maps that you just
so
played?
great. It's so great to bring back a reverse sweep, bring back a match from the dead. We didn't think it was dead, but we're so glad that we could pull it back. We're very clutch when we need to be. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, so what happened at the start of like both of those maps, especially Snakewater, when they were kind of rolling you 3-0
I
in the first
think
15
I
minutes?
think it must have been our mids. We didn't have our mids down at the start, and then we started to warm up a little bit in our snake, and then I don't know. Our mids definitely picked up in the second half, and that really helped us.
Yeah, I guess my first question to you guys has to do with Sultry, because it's not a map that either of your teams have played this season. Was it just a situation of, was it a game of chicken? Neither of you didn't think that they were going to pick it, so you didn't ban it, and they like threw it in as a curveball. Is that what you think happened? Or
I don't think we know callouts on that map, so I think that was really the Chad play from them, picking a map we don't know callouts on.
Yeah, we were not expecting them to pick that map, honestly, considering they have like no experience or next to no experience as well.
At first it looked like it might work, but then Karama, with the magic of the failed rollout, just bring it back, discovering a right side mid. Yum Yum
Oh
We've been
yeah,
having.
we
No, that
made
was
up a new
called.
mid
No,
halfway through the
that was
game.
called. That wasn't failed. That was planned.
Yeah, our mid we changed up our mids to go right, and it kind of ended up working out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, let's see. I guess I would ask about one thing I was kind of harping on a lot in between your two teams was the difference in medic playstyles, because it feels like Polly and Pablo like to go on adventures, put a lot of pressure on your team, get really aggressive, whereas your team is more like go for sack plays and have Protein back up and live to fight another day. Do you feel like that kind of played a role? Do you think that eventually worked out in your favor?
Bertie, you want to say something?
I have no idea.
I think we don't try to we don't try to play like that, like where we just sack all of our players in and get our med out. But it kind of kept happening on Sultry because we didn't play the team fights right, I think.
Yeah. I mean, even if you guys didn't do that, I feel like Pablo and Polly did do that, as we saw. Pablo was kind of like free real estate a lot of times, just getting caught out by Utahs, and like the soldiers seem to just be feasting on it a lot of times during the 2 maps.
So after this game, you guys are moving on, and I believe playing LeBron Stantonopel. I assume you guys aren't feeling terrible about that. I mean, you guys, what were you, only out of the top four by round difference? You're kind of
Yeah.
close to those bottom couple teams in the next level up. So how are you guys feeling going into that game?
Definitely confident. We do good against them in scrims, and the match we lost against them was kind of unexpected. I think we should have won that match, but we can definitely do it. We can definitely beat them. We beat them in scrims multiple times.
We're gonna run it back.
We're gonna.
All right, we'll see if that happens as the last few seeding matches will wrap up. The first opponent being LeBron Stantonopel, but afterwards, I think one more match if you win or lose to determine the final seeding. But yeah, I don't. Do you have any other questions, Musty?
Just if you guys have any shout outs or anything you really want to address before we hop out of here.
Oh yeah,
out to
wait.
Bella.
I had one last question. What do you guys think of this new format in this season? All these stage 2 things.
I kind of like it.
Low key, it's kind of nice for the teams on the lower side of the invite. They have like
Yeah.
another chance to
Yeah, that's very true.
come back. That's pretty cool.
Nice endorsements.
It's
yeah, any
cool.
last shout outs you guys want to give?
Shout out to Della, best coach and invite.
True. Shout out my team Cat Posse. Love you guys.
And Karama, any last words?
Shout out to Cat Posse and Della. He coached us pretty good. He's awesome.
Oh,
Shout out
nice.
shout out casters and production.
Yeah, and shout out to you
Real.
guys and Estrogen for putting on a great show. And
Yo,
yeah,
shout out to Mustard Overlord.
Thanks, dog. I'll give a shout out to Boolean Flags because he asked me for one earlier. That dude is keeping Invite alive single-handedly in every stream at once. You know, he has the security
God.
camera. He has yeah, he's like operating the security desk of like a skyscraper. He has like every floor. Just kidding.
yeah,
He
for
gets
sure.
every TF2 tab open on Twitch.
Exactly.
And finally, shout out to all the viewers who are coming out tonight to watch the game. And hopefully you'll stick around, watch Fireside Cast, as we should be covering the last few matches in terms of seeding. So stick around, make sure to drop a follow. Thanks for watching. Shout out CEO on production as well. Can't forget him. And we'll see you on Fireside Cast next time.